Live from Cape Town, this is the Voice of the Cape. The Voice of the Cape.
We have the pleasure of speaking to Moyana, who is the author of Unapologetically Me, a powerful narrative about embracing identity, owning one's voice, and rediscovering strength in the face of adversity. Her book invites us into her journey of past wounds, inner reconciliation, and unapologetic reclamation of self. And she is in the studio with us, very excited. She looks nervous.
No, I don't.
You look it, but you don't sound it. Good morning, Lisa. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, we are excited. So, Lisa, this is your first book. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
I'm so excited. I never thought I would publish a book, but it was always my dream.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm so happy, proud of myself.
We are proud of you as well. When you say you never thought that you would publish a book, but it was always your dream, did you think like maybe when you reach a certain age that would be the appropriate time, or what do you mean by that?
No, I just felt like, from where I'm from, I don't feel like I'm eligible to do this stuff and to publish a book, but I stood up and I made it possible.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about where you're from and how it is, how those words in your life and your journeys are found in this book.
I'm Moyana and I'm from Zimbabwe, from a village called Muti in Harare. And how this all resonates, it's where I came from. I came from Zim when I was little, I was very small, and I came to this new environment in South Africa, and I didn't know where I was, and I didn't feel like I was welcome. So that's the purpose why I wrote this book, to just show how unapologetically how I am and how I just found my identity and my voice. Yes.
I think topics like identity, finding your voice, and sharing that is very important. But I can imagine it must be hard because you're saying you came as a little girl, so your worldview is completely different. You're in a place that is so strange to you, and then you have to navigate through that. So talk to us about some of the challenges that you had to put to the paper so you could like reflect, because I think sometimes your story almost all of a sudden makes sense once you see it written down, because it's like, okay, life is happening, but once you see it on paper, you're like, oh yeah.
Yes. I went through a lot when I was in primary school. Coming in South Africa as a refugee is not an easy thing. I think many foreign nationals can speak for themselves, so it was hard. I went through a lot, and I just felt that pouring all my words on paper would just make me feel better, because I don't have anyone who I could speak it to, because in the school I was in, it was more of a colored school. So there wasn't so many people from my country. So sometimes speaking with a teacher, they wouldn't understand what I'm trying to say. So I went through a lot, and that's what made me write this book. And I didn't have anyone who I could like speak this to, and I just said to myself, let me just write this down and make a book of it. So I didn't think I was gonna make a book, because when I started writing this book, it was first as poems, short poems, small pieces, and I was around about 15, 16. So I was writing short poems about how I spent my day, what I went through. So then, before I knew it, when I turned 16, that's when I saw all this piece of papers that I've been writing for years, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Why don't I just make this as a short story book about myself as a refugee in South Africa? So that was the experience.
So you started with poetry. I love their minds. And so, are you open to sharing a poem that you remember when you were 16?
But I actually stopped writing poetry for the moment, but I mainly started focusing on writing short story as this book as it is today.
Okay. So now short stories are meant to be powerful and impactful, just short and sweet, really giving the reader an opportunity to dive in quickly and not get lost in the words. And some stories are very long and it's like, where are we going to?
And you get lost.
Yes. So in writing a short story, what is it that you would like the readers to know and experience as they're navigating through this very short story condensed in this book?
What I would like readers to experience, my book is mainly targeting young people. I would like them to see themselves as human beings and to see them that they're not different from anyone else, and to stand up for their voice and accept yourself because that's who you are and it's never going to change.
Yeah.
So when I want people to read this book, I want them to see that they're not alone. They're not the only one who are facing this kind of situation in life. I also went through it. And I thought that, let me write it down because I know that this book might help a young person who's going through a lot. And you know, nowadays young people are taking their lives because they feel that they can't fit in. Because in my book, in chapter 3, I elaborate how I didn't fit in. I didn't fit in any friendship. I was yearning to be part of everything, but with language barrier, like I couldn't understand Xhosa well. I couldn't understand Afrikaans quite well, so I had to try to fit in, and it wasn't good because sometimes they would be speaking, you don't understand what they're saying. So I would like young people to actually read this book mainly so it can change their life and then they can accept who they are and be proud from where they come from. Because many young people nowadays who come from different countries, they would lie and say they're from here. They don't like speaking about themselves and they're not feeling proud from where they come from. So I just want other young people, the generation, to change on how they take things and how they see things in others.
Be proud of themselves and who they are as people and their heritage and culture. This is not solely to children who come into this country, this is to all children who find themselves or who even pick up the book, because at the end of the day, your message is humanity. Is that correct?
Yes, it is about humanity and uniting together. It's not about, I do also say about discrimination. This book is not about making people, citizens of South Africa, feel bad, but just to elaborate what I went through, to people to understand what made me to write this book and how I then overcome that. Because I don't blame them. They also feel like we are coming here overtaking their place, but that's not the thing. Us as children, we just saw ourselves here because I just saw myself here. I thought I was born here, but when I asked my parents, they were like, no, you're not born here. You just came here when you were only 2 years, because I only came when I was 2 years and I didn't know anything. I just have a memory of like I was in Zim, but I don't quite remember.
Yeah. Studio last week, and they do a lot of work around connecting communities and helping communities see each other as just human beings. There are a lot of challenges in South Africa in relation to citizens and finding spaces, jobs, and things like that. But you know, I think there's also much to say about how we look at each other and how we make space or hold space for someone who's different. I'm not how shall I put it? I love difference in general. I understand the concerns that are attached to certain things, but I love seeing human beings from different walks of life and different belief systems and all of that, because I'm just that kind of person of seeing that humanness. So talk to us through about some of the chapters. You say there's discrimination, there is also the idea of getting the reader to see the humanity in someone else.
Yes, in chapter 1, that's when I elaborate more about where I came from, how I came here, and how things were different, and how I was confused. I was a very confused young girl. I was confused. I would always ask my parents, why did we come here? What am I doing here? Why are we not going back to Zim? What's going on? So in that chapter, I was in the middle. I was like, I come from Zim and I live in Zim, but I'm not fully Zim because I came here when I was only 2 years. And right now I understand more of South African culture, more than I understand of my country of origin. And then in chapter 3, I explain more about my primary school, how I was afraid to participate in anything. But sometimes the teacher would always say, Lisa, are you here? What's going on?
Mm.
And I know I still remember this day, and it was a time where I had to read, and I was so scared. And it was Afrikaans, and I was so nervous. So I took the book and I was shivering. I felt like I'm gonna wet my pants because I was so scared. So I started reading. I could understand Afrikaans. I could read it very fluently. And my teacher was so shocked. And she was like, why do you read it like a colored more than colored student? And I was like, I don't feel like I do that because I really doubted myself. I didn't think I could do anything. But my teacher was always saying that you have a great potential. I see the potential in you. But I didn't believe it. And then in chapter 6, that's when I write about forgiveness and, you know, for all the things I went through, because I had so much hatred in, you know, I would see a South African, I just didn't like you, and I would just think of backflashes of my primary school, how I got bullied, and for where I'm from, and for my surname and my accent. So I never liked any South African, and that's a fact. But then as I grew up, I got to understand that that's not it, and I understand who I am, and I understand they're also human, because they also get told by their parents that we are bad, but not everyone is bad at the end of the day. So yeah. And then I also speak about my opportunity that I got from Africa Unites. I never knew. I met Africa Unite when I was in grade 9, when I was 15 years, and I was just like, let me join, because I didn't have so much friends in high school. So I was like, let me join Africa Unite, let me see what I got there. And then the opportunity came, a singing contest in Germany. And then I was like, well, let me take opportunity, let me see what I got. So the song that I wrote, I wrote it as a poem first. I wrote it as a poem, and then I told my dad about it. And I was like, there's a competition in Germany. It's like, how can you even join something which is miles away from South Africa? How are you going to get through that? And then I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Let me write the song. Let me find a producer who can do something with my voice, make magic. And then I found a way, and then I sang the song, and the song was, wow, it was amazing, I won't lie. And I didn't know that out of top 6,000, I was part of the top 5, and I didn't expect it. And I
Wait, it's not 6,000, it's not the 5,000, you mean the top 5, like 1 to number 5?
Yes. Yeah, so I got opportunity to travel there, and Africa Unite was with me throughout. They supported me through everything on my way there and my way back, and it was a great journey. And I also elaborate that in chapter 5 of Finding My Voice.
Yeah.
The chapter is called Finding My Voice. And yeah, I'm so happy I met Africa Unite, and I would be so happy that all other young people meet Africa Unite, because it changed my life, it changed my vision, it changed the way I saw South Africa before.
Yeah. Give it to every young person, because young people are at home, right? They're at home. It's school holidays. So for those young ones who are listening at home, feeling like I am being bullied at school. I come from a different country, or I'm even local, and I feel like I'm being misunderstood in the spaces that I am. And so your message to young people, and give them hope.
Be your true self, and never give up on yourself. And also, when opportunity comes, don't listen to friends. Don't listen to friends. Go and do it, because I know that I experienced that. When Africa Unite came, personally, I had friends, and they were like, no, don't do that. If you're gonna go there, we're not gonna be with you, we're not gonna be friends with you. And I was like, okay. And I pretended like I didn't go, but I found my way, because I knew I had a vision, and I knew I had a future for myself. At the end of the day, it's school, you're not going for friends, you're going for your future. So when you go to school, have friends, but be wise, be alert. These friends are gonna be there to tell you do bad stuff, but you be aware that I came here for a purpose, and my purpose is this and that. So yeah, just be yourself, and never doubt yourself. That's all I can say.
Are you on any socials?
Yes, I am on TikTok, Lisa Moyana, and Facebook, Lisa Moyana as well.
Okay, fantastic, Lisa
Yeah.
Moyana. It's been a pleasure speaking to you about the book Unapologetically Me and really diving quite quickly into your journey. But I think your overall message to young people about you miss out on the opportunity.
Yes.
But Lisa, until you and I speak again,
Yeah,
have a
thank
great
you
Monday.
so much for this interview. I really appreciate it. So
You're
I'm
most
so happy.
welcome. I'm just as happy. That is Lisa Moyana, who is the author of Unapologetically Me, a story that dives into a young girl's life who came from Zimbabwe and landed in South Africa and her journey right through that. We're going to break for some commercials. We continue right after this.